How you doing, everybody? Randy Richard in the shop. Anyway, the pump is done. The pump works great. 7,500 PSI, perfect, and real happy with that. But we went out and tested this with the jack, and we lifted a sea container with it. Now, sea container weighed 10,260 pounds, and we only picked up one end of it, so 5,000 pounds roughly, and on it. And one of the jacks really leaked really bad. So I ordered a new set of seals for these, rebuild kit for them. So we're gonna get them apart, cleaned up, and see what else is wrong, see what's wrong with them and things like that. Just one of them leaked real bad, and this one, maybe not anything really at all, but we're gonna rebuild them anyway, so they're completely done. If you're doing all this work, might as well do them both. First thing we're gonna do is get this hose off. Now, these have, right here where the hose connects, there is a bleed off port, a venting, it's more of a bleed off port in case you have to release pressure. There's a ball bearing under that, and you can also use it to vent air out of the cylinders. So you'll see it's kind of loose there now. I already loosened this hose a bit, very, very tight. That's a plastic piece somebody put in there. Jacks, I found a couple of instances where they show something in there to provide some, so it's not aluminum against aluminum. So we'll have to probably find something different for that. And then you can see how this has been a big radius in here, concave surface. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. I'm using this Super Clean right here. Now, see, I've been using it for about a couple weeks on the machines and things like that, and it actually works pretty darn good. I'm really liking it. Mostly biodegradable. Doesn't smell too bad. Pretty nasty scar up here on top. Is a one-piece cylinder. There's no reservoir really in this, like a hydraulic bottle jack or anything. Bottle jacks have an outer cylinder or case, and then there's an inner cylinder for the ram, which goes inside there, the piston, inside that, like a liner. And then between the liner and the outside cylinder-looking piece is the reservoir, that gap. Where these don't have that. This is threaded into the base, a left-hand thread. Something kind of funny, the instructions, they send you some instructions with the seal kit, and the wrench they show, right there. Well, it just so happens I even have one of those. But I was going to use a chain wrench anyway, but I just so happen to have one like they show. On there. Like I said, it's left-handed. There's some marks around here like somebody's tried it with a pipe wrench and everything. And let's see here. Might not be tight enough. I'm loving this new mount I built here. This is a really working out really nice here. Let's see here. We might need a little extra leverage. There we go. It's gonna. Let's see if I can get. I'm gonna have to put this over something. It is full of oil. Very little drained out. They seem to have put Teflon tape on the threads. That's no need. There's no need for that. Teflon tape. Just causing more problems. If it leaks there, that means the seal's not working. You shouldn't try to have to seal it up there. It means you got the seal in there wrong or something. There we go. Full oil. Look at that. It's all Teflon tape. Right there. Actually hollow in there. So that's why it has a lot of oil in it. Now this is the second jack. I've already taken apart the first jack and cleaned it all up to show you. So we're going to take this one all apart, show you that, and then I'm going to put together the other one since it's all ready to kind of go. When you put this together, you have to put it together in a certain way so you don't mess up this bottom seal. And I can see that if you do this wrong, you could easily mess this seal up. The other jack, this seal was what was messed up. And I'll show you that when I go to put it back together, how it was messed up. And you have to put this together the right way so you don't mess this up. And that's why it would leak. The seal there. And then there's this nylon ring here underneath the seal. I might not be able to get it out. And then this one has, this here, little flap here is covering the outlet port for the oil. This is what they call an accelerator valve. And if the hose blows when you have pressure on the jack or weight on the jack, and the hose blows, you don't want the jack to collapse, especially when you're doing a tree. That could really cause a lot of problems. Anyway, what happens is if the hose blows, there's a high, fast flow of oil, and this will get pulled, or the pressure of the oil will push it down with a high flow of oil and seal the port off so you don't lose your jack completely, or especially in a tree situation. Now this one, I don't know, it sure seems like this is awfully high above the surface. It should be really quite close so that works, and somebody might have bent it too much or something. I'm going to make it so they're pretty close. The other jack does not have this. On the drawings they shows this. So we'll get all this, have to get all this all clean. Let me push the piston out. There we go. There's a piston. Now this is what's called a guide ring. It's nylon. And the seal is right here. And now we'll have to clean that up, and we'll warm that up with a heat gun to get that off. It fits fairly nice, and to stretch it out, you warm it up with a heat gun, and you can pull it right off. And then I'll warm the new seals up with boiling water. Just put them in some hot water, and they'll get stretchy enough to put on. And then up here on the top, very dirty, there's a guide ring in the cylinder here, and then a lip seal, kind of a lip seal, but it's another seal here to keep the trash out so dirt doesn't get down in there. Like I said, here's the port right here for the telltale hole, the leak hole. It's right here, right? And the seal is on the inside of that. It's around the center part here. So if it leaks, this will tell you if there's, you know, if you have a leaky seal, a little oil is going to come out. Now, these are both packed with dirt, so, you know, I don't know what good those are really going to be. Then there's a 1032 set screw right here in this hole, and that is to lock. Once you screw the cylinder in, it screws up on the bottom and just impacts it, and to give it some friction in case you was going to unscrew. Now, it might unscrew. I doubt it though. It fits in there pretty good, and you can make it tight, so I really doubt it. It's a left-hand thread, so it's counterintuitive anyway, so I really doubt if it will they'll unscrew, but there is a lock screw, no grub screw. And then the seal, for the bottom seal, there's this nylon ring that's going to go around right here and sit against that base, and then there's this ring here. Now this is a quad ring, and it's these rings are rated at 7,500 psi max working pressure supposedly. They have this O-ring right in here that's pressed into them, and you can peel it out of there. And this jack, when I took it apart, this O-ring was all up and not in there. So probably putting it together is when they did that, and it probably leaked the whole time. So these are not shaped nice and square or anything. The top edge flares out. So the ring is shaped like this, cross-section wise there, and then it's kind of like this. And it goes to a sharp edge. Right in here, there's an O-ring. So this sits in here, kind of like this. Two separate pieces, right? Yeah, this is the sealing edge here, and then down here is this nylon ring is sitting underneath here. And then the boss is, you know, you slip it around the boss so it presses up against that edge there and seals like that. And then this is the cylinder wall, would be over here. That's threaded. So that's kind of how that seal works. So what we're going to do is, this would be very hard to put this seal in. If you put that seal in first, and you can put the nylon ring in, but you can't put the seal in. If you put the seal in first, when you go to push this down on there, you'll probably peel this and make this curve, and it will not. It will probably it could pop the O-ring out like they had. Is you need to put this into the bottom of the cylinder first and have that in there just like that, flush with the bottom. Okay, and then you bring the piston, you have the piston already, the piston has to go in from this end. So you have the piston has to enter in from this end, because the seal on the piston is the same as this one. It's a one-way kind of situation. It has to go in this way. Then you have the piston pushed down tight against that seal, so it can't be pushed up into the cylinder. And then when you screw this on, the boss, the center boss, will engage the seal, and as you screw it, the boss can actually push the piston up a little bit, about a quarter inch or so, about that. Not very far. It could push that up a little bit, maybe about 100. Actually, it's about 100 and something thousandths. It will push the piston up a little bit, but the seal will push down and go right into where it's supposed to be and be shaped properly to seal. So you have to put it on that way. And then on the top of the cylinder, now I already slipped this one in because this was a little too long, this guide ring. So I put it in there and it was too long, took it out, trim the end, and put that in. Now I have a seal here, rubber seal that will go into this groove here and lock in. It's kind of has a sharp edge on it to keep trash out. And then on the piston, we have another seal. Now the seal on the piston is identical to this one in the base. It has that O-ring in there. It has a backup ring right here, and this backup ring has a backup ring. So this backup ring has this small square O-ring that's in behind it. It's at the same, just fits on the inside of this. Actually, it's not like it's adding to thickness or anything. It just fits on the inside, and that's up there. That's your backup ring, and then the seal is against that, and then the guide ring will fit right in here. Now this, I might have to trim this one too. It might be a little long, and I'm going to warm those up. They're awful stiff and to fit right now. It's kind of cool in here. These I cleaned up real good. Now you'll see right here. There's this area here. Right here, it's about that 1/4 inch wide all the way around. It's a very light knurl, and what that is that's the line when you push it, when the piston gets pumped up. If you see that line, when you see it, stop pumping. That's to tell you that you're at the end of the stroke. You could conceivably push this up too high and screw up your seal, or push it even all the way out if it didn't leak too bad. But that's the line telling you to stop on your stroke. That's 3.5 inches of stroke. Put this nylon ring in first. I like using these two things here. These are Dow Corning products, 111. It's a valve, lubricant, and sealant. And this one's electrical insulating compound. Both of these are silicone based materials. This one is very thick and very heavy type of silicone type of grease, and this one is a lot lighter but very similar. And these things work great for O-rings and seals and stuff like this when you're putting stuff together. We use this stuff on aircraft all the time, and for seals and gaskets and things like that. It's a fantastic stuff, and I'm gonna put a little bit of this on here. Now this stuff is even great for if you want to put it on your batteries. It doesn't melt like Vaseline and stuff on your battery terminals. It really stays, it's very sticky, and works fantastic to prevent corrosion on battery terminals. I'm just going to put some of this stuff on here, just going to rub it on. Now I've already cleaned all this and everything. Now it might be a little on the tight side, and I think I can get it. Now like I said, the seal part we'll put in the cylinder when we're ready to put that all together. I need to put the grub screw in. That's going to get never sees on it. Now I already have this ring in here. I'm going to put some of this on here to make the piston, when it goes in there, it slips in there a little easier. This is, I already kind of tested it, and it's going to be snug. I'm going to use some of this lighter stuff on this seal. This will help slip in there. Now there is a groove that goes back in here that this locks into, so. Now these are kind of special little picks, O-ring pick, and these have a nice smooth radius on the end so you don't gouge things, and you can, they're great for things like this where you got to push it down to make sure it fits in there and good, and you don't score anything up. These are kind of nice. I have two of them. One's a little bit bigger than the other one, kind of first, and it's a square ring. So. Don't want to get it rolled, so when you get it down here you might have to straighten this out, making sure it's not twisted. It's going to sit right in there like that. Now this is not going to fit around here. This is way small. Either way, this is basically the same as this, so it it's a shorter distance for me here, so we're just going to warm this up. Finally. Okay, it'll shrink up here as it cools. I can barely touch the thing. I'll put this back on the boiling water too. I'll have to maybe work it in a little bit here. Okay, that's on there. A little bit of it's pretty tight fit, and you got to have them warmed up, otherwise you're not going to get them on. Did a real good inspection and everything looks really good, and we're going to smear a bunch of grease on the seal so it slips in easy. I put some around the inside there already, inside the cylinder. All right. Now, this has to go around there. So I'm going to set that in there. Now you can see how much play there is. It's sloppy, right? I think that will go in there probably pretty easily. I'm just going to see what's happening here. Push a little bit, looks like. Okay, seal started. And we're going to try to put that around there. We're going to have to go with a hose clamp, and this hose clamp is barely going to fit. There we go. Okay. Now the hose clamp will slip off as we hopefully as we push it in. That's what usually happens when you do this. Get it so it's up above a little bit. Yeah. This is tight up here, so it's starting to enter into the guide ring here. There we go. We're down enough. We grease this up and we'll slip this in. And you gotta make sure the seal is up in there, and that will go just right like that. Never sees threads. And that's left hand. Okay, so I'm making not all the way down yet. Two threads, 3 threads left. And I can feel it pushing. So all you can do is pray that your seal goes, it should go together just fine. Because the way we're doing it. It should slip right over that, and there's no way to check it. So other than when you put pressure on it. Now we can lock the That's screwing down in here. Basically it. Now next would be to hook this up, start pumping oil in there. Now it's going to have a lot of oil to put in there to fill that center of the piston and bleed all the air off. So it's going to be, that's good enough for now. This is just one of them, so we've got to get the other one done, ready to go before we start trying to pump them up and all that good stuff.